Okay, very good. Alrighty, hello Facebook. We are coming to you here from the beautiful Gold Coast, the HI Gold Coast Clinic, and I've got Marc with us. Is it now about 3 months?
3 months today.
3 months today since the session that you had, and the Operation Mullet 2020.
Yeah, it's coming. I had my first haircut the other day.
Yeah.
Like my first official haircut inside a barber.
Since
14 years.
That is something. So we wanted to just go live now and talk about, I guess, reflect back a little bit that, how this process has been for Marc during the first 3 months that he's now experienced. There's still a way to go to have the final full result, but we'll talk about all the steps that has happened so far, and then we'll touch base the Instagram page and the amazing response and the feedback that you're getting from all of you guys, I guess, who are interested in and curious about what this is all about, and whether it could be something for you as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the things, that what sort of questions we do and how can we serve, or how you can serve. Like, we're really grateful here obviously at DHR that you see the value in it and want to help people, so because if it came from us, it's different, right?
Yeah, it feels like a selling tactic, I guess, or people perceive it as a selling tactic if it comes
so it's
from the people trying to sell them sometimes.
Thank you for educating people and showing how it all works. Anyway, 3 months now. If you think about the day of the session, the things, the feelings that you were, I guess, feeling then, what people were, commenting about the whole thing, like how has it been?
So I think pre conversations, everyone was kind of like, oh, you don't need to get that done, and you're like, oh, I'm getting it done, it's all good. And then obviously day of the surgery, I was extremely excited, super happy to be like really getting into it and wanted to see sort of where that journey took me, and obviously 2 days, big 2 days, pretty exhausted by the end of it, but it amazed me how quickly hair then started to grow, right?
Yeah.
And so sort of by day 8, day 9, all the scabs are gone and you're just kind of left with this head of hair, which is probably maybe just a little bit shorter than this at that stage, 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks in, and you have those conversations with yourself where you're like, I'm going to be the guy that doesn't shed, I'm going to be the guy that doesn't shed, and then you wake up one day and you've got no hair left, and you kind of go from that euphoria of, I've got hair again, and this is my new me and my new journey, and you realise quickly, that there's another part of the journey that no matter sort of how much you try and prepare yourself for that, it is, I guess, maybe a shock, maybe the right word, or, you kind of feel like you've taken a bit of a step back, and you have to kind of deal with other people's emotions more than your own, I'd say, like people are like, oh, it didn't work.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, your hair transplant hasn't worked. You're like, nah, it's working, it's just all part of the process, and you spend time explaining to people what that looks like, and obviously it was red for, what are we now, probably 2 months, maybe just over 2 months, which could, because I'm quite pale, it kind of stood out like a sore thumb, and some people, like in the last week, have now said, oh, you've got hair now. Last time I was in here it was red and I didn't want to say anything, I didn't know what was going on, so amazing that a lot of people weren't sort of wanting to say something, even though I'm receptive to anyone that kind of wants to have that conversation, But it's a bit of a roller coaster, those first 2.5, 3 months, I think for 3 months to be sort of at this point with a hairline and hair that's starting to grow, and you can feel different lengths of hair, and having a haircut, I think it kind of now feels like I'm on the journey that you sign up for, I guess. Is that, you feel like you're kind of really starting to make a lot of headway every day, and a lot of comments now like, wow, your hair looks so good, you know.
And it is interesting how, because everybody is obviously different, and normally, like, I remember I had mine done almost 3 years ago, and the redness and all kind of signs of it was gone in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Although I have a pale kind of skin as well, you know, so I was a perfect candidate for having quite a long redness period. So I was lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
You had obviously a larger area as well, so it's also more obvious.
And it was only really the front that went red. So the back area that was also done didn't really show any signs of redness at all. So
well, that's it. So skin gets a bit irritated, and then, you know, it's a process. But we all knew that's how it is. We can't guarantee, you know, what the time is that, you know, that there will be some signs of, you know, redness and stuff. But now that it's gone, it, you know, it starts looking, it gets exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, very exciting. And it's 3 months. It's such a short period to get to this point, and you know, it feels, maybe some days feel long, and I think we talked about it last time, is that you get into the frame of mind where you're almost watching the garden grow. You know, you're like, oh, did I get a new hair today? Oh, did I get a new hair today? And it's kind of when you stop doing that you kind of, it starts to do its thing. You know?
So what's the hair goal now? What's the hairstyle gonna be? You know,
well,
in the next 6 months maybe.
Well, I guess I kind of committed to this mullet as a joke, but everyone's like strictly gonna hold it to me. So I think there will be how long the mullet lasts, I don't know, but there'll be a mullet at some point. But I think I'm gonna go. Just let it go and sort of see where it takes me. I haven't had hair this long for 15 years, so I was probably 18, 19 the last time. I had unshaved head, so...
That reminds me, before you did this, we had a chat about the reasons why you're doing it. One of the things was that you were just sick of shaving.
Yeah.
And now obviously you're not doing it anymore, right?
No shaving yet.
How does that feel?
Feels good. I cancelled my razor subscription. I had a subscription to razor blades. So pretty much I used to get 4 razor blades every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A packet of 4 every 2 weeks. So that's gone. Barely gone through 1 razor blade since. It's honestly, it's like really nice. Obviously I've changed from shaving to doing minoxidil twice a day. But it's a very quick process, and it feels rewarding, I guess, doing that process when you wake up the next day and you have more hair and more hair. And whether they're connected or it's just part of the process, I feel like since I started that probably 3 weeks ago, I went from having very little hair to this, and I feel like it's definitely helped speed up that process.
When you've had a hair transplant, you've had something that actually gives you a very kind of quite big change.
Yeah.
It also motivates you to do the other stuff to kind of maximize everything.
Yeah.
When you are in the early stage of hair loss, and you try to kind of use these medications or treatments to prevent further loss and stop it, or, you know, maybe, you know, strengthen it a little bit, because you hardly see any difference. Like, it's really slow, at least, if the change comes there. The biggest problem with those treatments is that you just give up.
People give
because
up,
you know, you don't see.
It's not instant.
When you do it with the hair transplant, whether it's, you know, how much it helps and things, you know, we don't know, but it definitely helps the prevention. Like that's the key thing with all the medications and treatments that are not, I guess, surgery. You know, you should really, you know, just treat them as preventative solutions. And if you expect just that, you know, you'll be happy. But obviously we don't really see too much of a change.
No, we don't. And I've seen people using Regain and taking finasteride that are, you know, almost as bald as I was, and then after 4 months in my head, you come back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, it's probably not going to come back using those 2 products.
Yeah, it's not gonna come back if you've already lost.
Yeah.
If you still have a little baby hairs and things, so there's something to strengthen.
Yeah.
Of course, they do work. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of research and around them. So it's not BS. It does work, but mainly as a preventative. Stuff.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Tell us a little bit about that Instagram page and how what's happening there.
So I guess it started off just to be in our minds when we initially spoke. It was just a sort of pathway of the journey, and every sort of stage we document it, and it would lead to the end of the yellow brick road, I guess, and that's kind of in my mind what it started as. And I started to obviously post quite a lot, like to sort of keep the people who are following the page engaged in what is actually happening and what it's like to have a hair transplant, rather than just saying, hey, this is 1 month, this is 5 months, this is 12 months, now I have hair. Because I don't think those kind of documentations actually tell the full story of what it's like to have a hair transplant.
Gives you the visual idea, but nothing about the feelings and what you're actually going through.
Yeah. And so I guess we've got a core kind of group of people on that Instagram page who are looking at getting a hair transplant or have been too worried to go and have a consultation or to talk to people about it. And I guess that page for them has been like a soundboard that I've happily had conversations and answered questions and put them at ease, I guess, and help them with how they're feeling in general about it. It's been really nice. It feels like a bit of a community on there, and people ask for updates. Even though I post a lot, they want to see that day and ask questions, and that ranges from do you take medication to does it hurt, how do you feel emotionally, how do you this is how I feel, and it's become like a really nice kind of community. And if anyone else is out there and they need someone to talk to, like I'm super open and happy to have those conversations. And I'm not being paid by DHI, which is a common kind of question. You're answering questions based on feedback they have given you. It's just strictly how I feel and what's going on with me. And I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you how I feel and what it's like for me. And obviously it is different for everyone else. But
there's a lot of principles that you kind of apply to everyone. We'll make sure to add in the comments under this video after we finish the address or the URL or handle so people can find that page if you're not following it yet. Is there any questions that we've got so far from live watchers? That's fine.
I think men, especially, are very good at talking about things. So having that sort of window there for them to pop their head in and have a judgmental-free chat, or offload some of the questions that they don't want to ask, or maybe they want to ask but want to be sort of half prepared for when they come and visit.
And that is so important. Like in the core, why we do what we do is really like, yes, of course it is hair loss treatment that we provide. It's that's the way for us to help people, and obviously then we help people with hair loss, right?
Yeah.
But the reasons why people do these things, there's other things behind it. Like it's not just hair, but it's something that
it's confidence.
It is confidence, and I many times talk about the thing that, like, if you think about a confident person and a person who lacks confidence, like there's a big difference in how they behave.
Yeah.
And there's different reasons, obviously, why you don't feel that confidence.
Yeah.
For some people, it may be hair loss.
Yeah.
And if we can help, with that, it can make a big change to their lives, because when you are a bit more confident, you take action, when you want to, because you're not afraid that much to, what other people think and all those things.
But I also think, like, as a man, you could be confident in yourself for 30 years. Your whole life you could be someone, and then you wake up one day and it's taken away from you, and your hair's gone. And it can happen almost. I've seen people go from full head of hair to practically, Norwood 5 or 6 within 12, 15 months. Trying to deal with that change emotionally, to go from, hey, this is the person that loved to style his hair, go out on the weekend, or whatever that looks like for the individual, to then being completely bald, feeling like a completely different person. I think that what that does to people mentally is really tough. At a time where, I read a statistic where between the age of like 35 and 45, men have the least amount of time with friends. So men are really active as teenagers, young children. Then as soon as they hit their 30s, 40s, when they have families, they spend less and less time with men. Which also affects people mentally. So to lose your hair and to go through those struggles, I think what it's done for me is and we're only 3 months in. I just feel so much better. I feel younger. I feel like I'm ready for the next. I've been at work this morning and refrain. I'm going to stick to the uniform at work. I think that's what I was going to say before when we were having the chat. Is that obviously hair transplants are different to everyone. I work and I get to see 2,000 plus people a week. That many interactions in the cafe. And so for me, it's been quite intense. I've heard questions and stuff, and obviously I've been super comfortable dealing with that. But I guess for most people, if you work in an office, 3 or 4 people that you see on a daily basis, I think it's not a lot of people spend their time worrying about what other people are going to think after the fact. I think the hardest thing to do is making that decision and say, yeah, I'm going to do it, and then try your absolute best to embrace it and think about where that's going to. Because it's something that comes up a lot in different settings. You think that people are going to notice and where they're at. And I find it helpful to just own it and just be like, fuck it, I'm it's like getting the steering wheel to a Ferrari or you're waiting for the rest of the engine to be built. Be proud of that. Someone once said, life is not about choice. Make a decision to be part of it and life takes you and you do whatever and stuff. Maybe it's 4 years, you're not 45 years old, just you're in the process of life,
I think that's pretty good. And behind the camera, are we all good?
Yep. Is that it? You got a PRP session booked in next week?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
PRP on Friday.
Yeah.
So
that's a treatment that obviously, it's 100% natural because we use your own blood and the platelets from your own blood to again stimulate the hair growth and the circulation really in the areas, and so I guess works a bit the same way as minoxidil. Like the idea is that it doesn't do anything to the actual cause of your original hair loss. So DHT, but yeah, that will be helpful. Once a month treatment to start with. Most people would do like 6 months and then kind of stop it for a while at least and see that if it maintains on its own very well and only do top-ups every now and then. Some people may come back after that initial 6 months period, every 3 months or so, just to maintain it. But yes, again, a preventative treatment. But it's not a surgical treatment. All the hair loss treatments really are just preventative treatments, and that's going to add into the whole thing. And I'm really excited to see how quickly that mullet keeps forming.
Beautiful.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.